I'm glad to have you back. You're still watching Arise Prime Time, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I am Ndi Amungu. Now let's look back at the week that was. And for this, we have our leading guest contributors who will share their analysis of the biggest stories and issues of the week. And for this, I'm joined now in the studio by Arise analyst and former chairman of the editorial board of Daily Trust newspaper, Mahmoud Jega, and by the public affairs analyst, Dickson, Iroegbu, who is both a member of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and he's also an obedient. These days, gentlemen, you're welcome, by the way. I was carried away by the obedient thing. These days when you don't know where they belong, where politicians belong, whether it's in the coalition or not. But we're going to treat some issues. We're going to treat the INEC, registration of parties, Senate Natasha Mata. So, and we have a limited time. You also have the Nupeng Dangote. So we're going to find a way to handle this thing. So let's start with you. Mahmoud, INEC, out of 171, 14 survived, 157 didn't cut it. INEC says you still have to come for physical registration by 17th. Let's start with that. Maybe join it with INEC's handicap concerning early elections.
Early campaigns.
Early campaigns, sorry. 150 days to the election, no penalty is in the Constitution. 24 days to the election date, you pay $500,000. So
24 hours, you mean?
24 hours, I mean, you pay $500,000. So discuss that. The 14 selected.
You see, many commentators have been saying that new political parties should have been registered much earlier than now in order to give them time to form their structures properly and mobilize and get ready for the next election. Personally, I would like to see the rules, whether it is the Electoral Act, changed and INEC be mandated to register new political parties, let's say 2 or even 3 years before the next election. However, what happened yesterday has slightly absolved INEC, because people can see, okay, there were 171 applications and they had to check all of them to see, and they were able to prune them down to 14. That shows that a lot of work must have been done. But still, it is not fair to register a political party too close to the next election. So at least beginning from the upper election, if we can change the rules and say, okay, whoever wants to register a new political party, submit an application immediately after the, let's say, 2027 election, and then INEC, you have got 1 year to screen all the applications and register the ones so that they will have enough time to prepare. That's the way I see this particular problem. Because as you can see, okay, 14 were shortlisted, but it's not even over. So they should come on Wednesday. We don't know what will happen.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday, maybe they come, and then some other long process, and if we are not careful, it may be December, maybe because some. So I think somehow we should avoid that kind of situation.
What do you think?
I agree with some of the points, but first let me congratulate the new ones coming on board. Of course, I'm a member of the oldest political party since 1999.
That has been struggling, but now they seem to be getting a grip.
Yes, they are welcome on board, and I commend the due diligence that INEC has embarked upon to ensure that whatever, you don't just claim that you're a political party because you could tender some names, submit some rules, whatever, and all of that. Before now, like those days when INEC had some stipends they gave to political parties and all of that. So most politicians became,
Dick and Harry.
Yeah, they started registering all sorts of associations as political party and all of that. So from the 171 to 14, and so we now have about 32 political parties being considered.
Existing.
Yes, maybe by the time they are done with the next phase, maybe it may drop down from 14 to maybe 10 or whatever.
Or maybe it will still be 14.
Exactly, but you see, I would rather prefer personally that we adopt two-party system. Because since we copied democracy from the United States of America, the two dominant political parties are very well known, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. And it seems to be going in that direction now. If we're able to fine-tune, yeah, you can have other political, there are many other political parties in America.
There are.
Yeah, but the only known ones are just two. So those other smaller ones or those other political parties could just focus on state level, local government level, and all of that. You must not present a national candidate for the national contestation and all that. So
that's not for INEC to say. That's what.
Yeah, well, but I just would commend them and say they are welcome on board. The more the merrier. For the PDP, we're already here.
Yeah, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
I don't have time, so I'm going to be running. None of you discussed the issue of the handicap, but I'm going to jump it. The question of 150.
Yes, that part. You see,
just
yes,
briefly.
That part. The part about 24 hours to election, you can understand why there's a condition there. If you falter, you face whatever it is. But before that moment, 100 and something. In fact, campaigning should not necessarily campaigning.
It's 150 days. Don't campaign. Don't.
Unfortunately, it's the ruling party that is all over the place with that. Okay. There's no other political party today.
Something should be done about it, so that people, so you can reign.
Will you punish a ruling party?
Why not? If it's in the law, if it's in the constitution, that why did you put 24 hours? 500, even that is
this type of ruling party as we have.
Well, it's true, because as you can see, if you are coming, say, from the airport,
it is the APC all over the place.
The picture of President 2027.
Let's go to the question of, I'll start with you, the Senate, Natasha, the Senate, what you do and imbroglio. Well, the Senate is saying it's sub judice, the court has to talk about it. The question of representation being denied over 6 months, the court said it's excessive. And then what he's saying, she's going to sue the clerk in personal and official capacity. Her lawyers say is self-imposed. What do you think of this issue?
First of all, I think this is the time to call the leadership of the National Assembly, the 10th Assembly, to order. You see, we're toiling with fire. We're playing with provocative angles.
Because we don't have all the time.
This Natasha, Senator Natasha matter, you see, it's important that we let the sleeping dogs lie. 6 months, she has served it out. You wanted her, the condition was either you apologize to the Senate or you face 6 months suspension.
No, the condition is not either. The court said she should apologize.
No, I'm not talking about court. I'm talking about the decision at the red chamber. What the condition was that we're going to punish you for so number of the months, or you apologize to the red chamber. And she opted for, let me serve it out, even though she also went to court and all that.
And the court has said you have to apologize.
Before court, the red chamber took a decision. And that decision, she has served it out. Haven't served out that number of punishment as meted to her and all of that, I think she should resume, because it's not her person, it's about the people she's representing in the red chamber.
What do you think?
And I think we need to call these people to order.
I agree entirely. The 6 months suspension is over, and the leadership should really allow her to resume, because she is representing a whole.
But the leadership is saying that you took this matter to court. So some are arguing also that, like, how do you say it, status barred. If I have overtaken by events, if I have served out my
6 months,
my 6 months, the question of not returning doesn't arise.
It doesn't.
But then they're saying that there's a court order. This is being argued both ways. There is a court order, and unless it's adjudicated upon,
when did they start even obeying?
And then the question of
order?
Representation.
When did they start obeying? When did they start obeying court order?
Honestly,
because it suits them now. They are talking about court order.
Yeah,
please.
Because once she resumes her seat, the case is,
it will be struck out, and you can at least have a way forward.
Yeah,
it's about the
because
interest
now
of the
it
people.
looks like the
Personal
leadership
attack
is on a vengeful,
Yes.
spiteful mission.
That's what it is,
And,
obviously. Now.
it doesn't give the National
Okay,
Assembly.
the question of her saying she will sue the clerk on personal official, does it arise? It doesn't arise. Does
Well,
it?
Yeah,
she
because
is
the
saying
clerk
because the 6
responded
months-
to her
No,
wanting
clerk
to respond.
is responding as a member of the Senate, not on his personal
A
capacity.
member of the Senate is not supposed
He's
to
not
supposed to
a
take sides.
senator.
He's not a member of the Senate.
No, sorry.
He's a public servant.
Yeah, but he
And
takes
needn't-
order from.
No. The interest that the clerk ought to serve is the interest of all 109 members in the green chamber, in the red chamber.
Good, but she couldn't have written that without the authority of
Yeah, but the issue
Senate
is-
leadership. That's what I'm trying to say.
The resolution of the Senate was to suspend her for 6 months.
Yeah.
And that is the only thing that should guide the clerk.
That's all.
As the secretary of the Senate. He must have written to her and say at so session, a decision was taken to suspend you for 6 months. Now, when those 6 months elapse, I expect him to facilitate her return, because
Naturally.
it's like a school. If a school suspends you for a month because of some truancy, at the end of the 1 month, if that was the decision of the management, the principal should welcome you back and you sit. The
All right.
fact that you went to court somewhere.
Let's-
I think the leadership of the National Assembly
Yeah.
should take this matter very seriously before you provoke another thing, really. Because this is not
Okay,
right at all.
Let's go ahead to Nupeng and Dangote, but just for a last one, do you think she should just? Do you think that it will be wise? I mean, they say wisdom is profitable to direct. Just take the case out of the court. Do you think it should?
She should resume as the National
But do you
Assembly
think it could?
resumes.
I mean, you know,
It's her decision
when-
to
when-
make in that direction.
That's what I'm
because
saying.
it was.
Do you think
issue
it
of-
could help settle all this imbroglio? Just take the case
No,
out
on
of
the
the
other hand, if
No.
they let her resume,
Yes.
then she will have to withdraw the
Yes.
case.
Okay.
So what is the
When
case
she's
about?
amongst her colleagues, they can now appeal and say,
Yeah,
okay,
so
let's
just withdraw the
bygone
case.
be bygone, and we'll move. After
Bygone
all,
be
it's
bygone.
constitutional that whatever is discussed in the chamber ought not to be taken outside.
at all. Okay,
Yes.
the question of unionization, freedom of association. Nupeng has placed its members on red alert. They're saying that Dangote is not abiding by the resolutions reached. A claim Dan Tata is calling for security agencies to crush them. Dangote denies that he's not doing that. It's abiding by the resolution. I mean, all that imbroglio, government coming in and saying, let this writ be settled. What do you make of this, Dangote?
Well, there are two issues, as I could glean from the statements by the Labour side and by the Dangote side. Even when the DSS brokered some kind of peace, I knew that one can only be temporary, because DSS, their main concern is there should be no breakdown of order and all that. But the major issues have to be resolved at a higher level than that. Now, Nupeng is saying that the Dangote people are not allowing the drivers to join unions.
Yep.
The Dangote people say, no, that is not true. Joining unions is voluntary and will not stop anybody, but management can actually put pressure on the side. But as far as I'm concerned, the most serious allegation made by Labour is that the Dangote refinery is driving towards a monopoly situation. Because honestly, personally, I didn't see the reason why the refinery should have so many 100 trucks and go into fuel distribution and say they will deliver to every petrol station in Nigeria, more or less. Because by the time they drive everybody out of the market, then they will effectively have established a monopoly. And at that point, they can really dictate whatever price they want. This is the argument that Labour is making. So I don't know why government encouraged that, for them to import all these hundreds or thousands of CMG-powered
4,000
and say they will
CNG
deliver fuel to every station. Because strategically, one can say that you are tending towards monopolizing the market. You have the refinery. Why should you also control the entire distribution network for the whole country? That's my own.
I think sincerely, if I may, the disagreement, so-called, between the Nupeng and Dangote and all that, the government should put the interest of the Nigerian people forward. Because they say when two elephants fight,
The grass suffers.
the grass. So the people should come first. But where is the place of government? What is even DSS doing, brokering whatever peace or whatever between these two organizations? What is the place of DSS there? Is DSS supposed to be meddling in this kind of situation?
All right, let's move forward.
It shouldn't be.
Let's
It should be government bringing them to the table and saying, this is the interest of the people that I am serving, and it must be upheld. If there are areas that needs to be adjusted from this end or from this end, you do that. That Dangote is bringing 4,000 CNG trucks.
All right.
That will create jobs.
I have some other. Let's treat this before. Very important before we call it a day. Jonathan Obi's meeting. That's interesting. Well, Obi says fruitful closed-door meeting discuss the state of the nation, and then of course you know that PDP. There's talk that PDP is weighing both Obi.
Yeah.
And Jonathan
GJ,
Moro says that Bala is saying the same thing. Party is open to two of them.
Yes.
So even though, of course, you know, Jonathan says politics is about betrayal. Hardly you can find one who says good morning. By afternoon, they're saying good evening. And then by evening, they're saying good morning. Yeah. That he was betrayed. So what do you make of that?
First, personally, when I saw the message from PO when he released the pictures and all that and stated it was a closed-door meeting, I was elated. I felt very happy. As a member of PDP, these are, in fact, politically today in Nigeria, the only two credible leaders that we can tender in 2027 and Nigerians will consider is GEJ and PO. And PDP, because our intention is to come salvage our nation from the current ruins that we find ourselves, of course, we're considering the best that we can bring. And seeing these two people sit together to possibly discuss, Oga, for instance, I want to assume PO will say, Oga, are you contesting? Do you have intention to run? That will be them discussing that. And if he is not going to run, he will ask also, are you going to run? If you're going to run, what can we do to bring the victory to the people? Because that's what's important to us. If the two of them, of course I'm obedient, but if the two of them can have that understanding, it would be a wonderful thing. PO being, I have always said, being the candidate of PDP, with someone like GEJ supporting or coming back to the party actively to say, let's go and save the Nigerian people from the ruins that we found ourselves. It would be great. I was elated, like I said, seeing the both of them
I can understand why he's
of course you have
It's an amalgam of PDP
and you know, politicians like Jonathan said, good evening in the morning.
No, that's not
good afternoon in the afternoon.
That's not what GJ was saying. That's not what
he was talking about betrayal.
No,
this is not betrayal. We're saying
not this one. He was just talking about.
These are the two personalities who are most mentioned as the most likely presidential candidates of PDP. And in fact, PDP is actively weighing them. Yeah. And there is the very important development that the PDP has officially zoned its presidential ticket to the South. Okay, but the South is a lot of place, so both of them are qualified to contest. And in the end, only one person can make it. So the two of them will discuss now, and you know, it is not easy to come to an agreement in this matter, as we see many times when parties say, let there be a consensus. Yes. All the aspirants sit in one room
and agree amongst yourselves.
You know, it's very difficult, not to talk of presidency, which is, each one of them will bring arguments in his own favor. Maybe Mr. Obi will say, you have done it before, why don't you just leave it?
No. We can't.
I want to believe that their discussion will be very mutual because they are friends.
We can't go. I don't know about being friends. We can't go
friends.
For that.
I can tell you.
Everybody, thank you so much. And I'm the Dickson Iroegbu, obedient and a PDP member. That's what we're talking about. These politicians, you don't know where they are and where they are not. And then Mahmoud Jega, public affairs analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for being in the studio.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's it for this edition of Arise Primetime. Do join us again next week for another edition of Primetime. From the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thank you for watching.